Hello everyone. In the recent video I shared on my platform, I took you through water pollution on sources leading into Lake Victoria. Now today I am taking you through the source of the problem. I am here at Kanyogoga. It's a place near Namwongo, a Kampala suburb, and it's a sort of a ghetto where hundreds of low-income people live and also find ways do kind of small businesses. If you look along all the sites, there are these kind of structures that are set up all around. Now these are business structures of different kind of people, women preparing foodstuff and selling to passers-by, and some of them also provide accommodation for other low-income earners like business women, market women who sell goods, foodstuff. Others are used by those providing security services to different organizations, like employees of security organizations like this one that has just passed. In this place, if you take a keen look on this side, most of these guys don't have toilets, they don't have latrines, they don't have any proper means of places of convenience where they can ease themselves. So what do? Most of the days they depend on public toilets where they have to pay, and that is for a low income community like this one. It is a lot straining in the pockets. So what do? The cheapest alternative people opt for is to wait when darkness falls. So they use the night to pick cavera like this, where they ease themselves on inside and then throw either near the railway here, or they throw in water channels. This is how you get to see this kind of cloggings, and even the kind that I took you through. You see there is a cabbage somewhere there that's from the market, probably rotten, and then someone could not sell, so they decided to dispose it off. Yeah, but this is the life. I'm going to walk you through a series of places that will take you through. You will be able to see the lifestyle of the people, their source of drinking water and water for washing and all these other things. So just be patient, follow my journey as we move slowly. Now as we move here, this water source is one of the sources that lead to Lake Victoria. It's a small what I would call channel, but this is where the whole the drainage line along this area starts. So this is from a natural source, but it flows and it has to find its way into Lake Victoria at a later date, where I took you. I think we shall still be able to see it at a later date. On this side now you see piles of cavera that are thrown everywhere. These contain different kinds of waste, both foodstuffs, human excretion, and all kinds of things. And the goats that we see here, now these kind of animals come and pick on what they can eat. It's not only the goats, even dogs come and make their selection. Even chicken like this one, they come and make their selection, what they can eat and what they cannot eat, and then life moves on. I should be able to see those small emerging structures, construction materials that are just being used to put up new structures. If you are a bird like these ones, you'll find it fun to be in this area because you have adequate space to play, exercise, and enjoy yourself. But if you're a human being, it is stressing. You'll see the kind of residence that people live in. Most of these are single room houses, cheap. So the low income people opt to take up these buildings because they are cheaper and they are more cost effective. For instance, a security officer who earns about Uganda shillings 200,000 or 250 there, that is less than maybe slightly about $60-70 there a month, would not afford a house that is more than 100,000. So they opt for this place because it's cheap and more convenient for them to live in, as long as their focus is largely to rest. So they look for this kind of place, and within this kind of place, of course, you have all sorts of things. If you see on the other end, there is a pork joint where now these low income people, because most of them are doing jobs that take most of their day times, so they are unable to cook for themselves. But even if they were, many of them find it more expensive to buy food stuff and cook for themselves by themselves. So they opt for this easy pick, that you can find something already fried, say fried cassava, pancakes, already cooked food, which is in this what they call kafundas. This kind of structures is a restaurant where many people come and pick their lunch from because they are cheaper. With a budget of like 2,000 shillings, one is able to get what to eat for lunch or supper or dinner, depending. Now, most of the people here do not necessarily have 3 meals a day. Most of them deal with a meal or 2 meals a day. So the struggle is hard for them. Now this is like a washing bay where people wash cars and motorcycles, still along the channel leading into Lake Victoria. You'll see the level of garbage that is piled here. Now they try to open the channel because here these guys try to use it, and here someone has set their business of plastic kind of collection. These people collect the plastics and take them to recycling companies that eventually recycle those plastic materials into usable items or convert them into, like raw materials that can subsequently be converted into new plastics. Now here, where I'm taking you there is a channel here that you'll come to appreciate. Now from the water that comes from the other side, come and links into this place. This is one of the paths the passage that leads into Lake Victoria. You see the kind of channel, the kind of pile, food waste, clothes, plastics, shoes, and all kind of wastes are piled here. Some are just fresh, like this one has just been thrown here. It's full of flies and many other things. Even medical wastes are thrown in this water channel. So this is part of the journey, the kind of lifestyle that you get to see when you move in this kind of environment, what people do to survive, how they dispose their waste, and this is how the waste also end up into Lake Victoria. Because like I told you, now most of these people don't have toilets for themselves. most of them don't have waste disposal materials. If you check, most of these are like shops, either shops or they are restaurants that they're serving some people and then the residents. And yet they don't have disposal channels. So because they don't have the disposal channels, the waste are thrown anyhow. They are dumped into the channel, the water channels, because it's easier to get them there, and maybe the community nearby doesn't pay so much attention. So when you throw it there, you are safer than piling it maybe in your house and attracting flies. I strongly believe these people are not so ignorant. They are aware of, partially aware of the implications of improper waste disposal, because they know that when they don't dispose the waste well, then they will attract flies, and these flies will subsequently affect their health. So they opt to throw it into the what? Into the water channel, where not many people pay attention. Now, these people are very political. We are heading towards political moment here in Uganda, and you see all candidates have positioned their posters all over, and some of these people are die-hard, like I would say, political die-hards when it comes to the support of those kind of candidates. Now you see this one has piled the small waste there. That sack contains some waste collected from that business. But here across the road, someone sells fish. But you see in the channel here, there is waste that is someone is selling fish here. But just across here, you see the remains, the waste from that business is thrown into the water. It is all over. It is like a lifestyle here, that wherever you see, you'll see caveras, you'll see plastic waste, except plastic bottles and other containers are collected and taken. There are people who have who take their time to collect plastic waste because they get some small money out of it. So they collect like plastic bottles and other containers. They collect them and take them to the people who buy them, and subsequently sell them to operators of plastic recycling plants that eventually convert them into raw materials for plastic manufacturing industries. So, yeah, this is the lifestyle. This is actually not the peak of everything. This is just a sort of sneak peek into the lifestyle here. Imagine all these people along all these houses do not have toilets in them. They do not have latrines that they use. But life is flowing normally. Life is flowing normally. And whether you throw your waste, probably nobody cares much, because unless you probably throw it at someone's door, they do not give it the attention it deserves. Many times when I pass here, I ask myself, what exactly can be done to these people? How can they be woken up to appreciate a cleaner environment and protect the environment by themselves? But you see, these are mostly very low educated people or not educated at all. So they are just surviving. Even those that work, the nature of work they do is the kind that only earns them from foot to mouth. Now here is a public toilet that is operated, that people kind of come to ease themselves, but they are paid. So most people don't have to. Most people try to go there. Avoid going there, especially when they don't have the money. So the only option is to wait until it is late. But the children here are happy. They play. You may have seen those ones eating ice cream. So it's life. These children grow here. They see all this kind of irresponsible disposal of waste, and they take it as normal. So for a person who has grown here, it's hard for them to tell what is wrong and what is right, because they don't really, unless they are woken up, they don't really know the difference between wrong and right. They cannot tell because they are not told also. They are not exposed. They really need someone, some voice to wake them up and show them the possible or the actual implications of their acts of improper disposal of wastes. It's a tough situation here. It's a tough situation. And you see this site, because there is no drainage line, the railway is, this site is always constantly flooded with wastewater from people's houses. I would say domestic wastewater, because there is no proper line to clean them. Now you see, okay, this is where the train passes in most cases, but you can see, I know many of you live in countries where train is the major means of transport. Here in my country, it is not exactly that. The train only operates on one route and only about twice a day or so. Most people either use motorcycle taxis, which are commonly called boda boda, or they foot, or they use public taxis, the vans that are like, most of them are 14 passenger vans, or buses if they are going to long distant places. So depending on the amount of money you have or where you are traveling, you will choose the means of transport to use. But here, the train is only takes this route to transport some small luggage to an industrial setting. Yeah, they pass either once a day or even a few times a week. But you see, whenever it's not passing, the railway line in some areas is buried in the filthy water, buried in the dirt. You see now this person here has gathered the rubbish and brought them here to the railway, so the railway is not almost visible on this area, but it's not a big deal to them. Yeah, so it's not a really big deal to such a person to dispose their waste properly. Now, I was taking you through. You see, this small channel continues the other small channel I showed you the other time. Yes, it branches, and then there is another one that starts, and it flows along here and still connects, goes into Lake Victoria. Someone has put a business here, set a structure above the drainage channel, which is, there is no big deal about it. But when you look here, the very thing I tell you about, I've told you about, there is used Pampers, this Cavera, and yeah, life continues just like that. Some places the drainage channel is not fully obstructed, but people still kind of obstruct them because they don't see much of the value. Now the other thing that is happening is that there is a lot that is coming up that is filling up wetlands with soil because people want to put up construction. You'll see ahead of me there, these are containers that have been set up, and someone is trying to put up a business center in this location. So they have gathered this soil that has been transported from afar, I think, using heavy trucks to fill up the wetland that is just behind these structures because they want to set up. So let me take you through to that very location so you can see for yourself what's happening there. Now this place is fenced. This is a wetland. If you see from the very nature of the plants that are standing on the other side, these are the containers I told you about. There are many other things that are coming, but the plan here is to transport the soil from the other side and fill up this space, which is already fenced, because someone wants to set up a business hub here. So it's one of the kind of environmental challenges that is really prominent here in Uganda and prominent in Kampala as a whole. Many people are concerned about soap getting into water channels, but here people wash bikes like these ones. They'll make a bit of money, but eventually the soap that is used to wash that motorcycle drains and goes into the channel that still goes into Lake Victoria. Yeah. So everything here, you'll clearly see that there is not really much effort. Yes, people need water. Yes, people really like this kid. They're trying to maybe get some water from here, or they're going to fetch it somewhere, but see where they're playing the level of that, the place they may want to get the water from, how filthy it is. Yeah, this is terrible. You see, it's terrible. Very poor garbage management. If you come to a near place like this, you see now it's the waste flies feasting on the remains, the sugarcane remains. And now these very flies might go into someone's house and land on the food they're eating, and they end up with some funny health condition. You see the blockage that is there? Materials like bugs and every other thing is thrown into the water channel because people really don't, they don't pay much attention about their environment. They don't know the implication of throwing that kind of waste into the water channel, and they are not caring, because life is all about survival. Like I told you, here people are all about getting a meal for the day. So as long as you have the meal for the day, however you get it. Now this is part of the residence, the kind of buildings that I told you about. Inside there you see a church where the poor are consoled. But when things fail, you go and you run to the church and try to find some comfort, because life here is really hard. And life is really hard. Now, from this point, I think we are almost there, but there is just one last channel that I would like to show you before we call it a day for this video. Let's try to speed up from here. West, west, west. This one is what is carrots. That's how they save their waste and then go and dump it into Now this is like part of the last lines that connects. You see it's getting broader from here. It comes all the way from the other side and then connects on this side. Then people have put structures almost on the drainage line, but it goes like that. And there is a bit of attempt here to clean this place frequently because there is a local community chairperson who lives nearby, and I think he puts a bit of efforts into seeing that the channel is somewhat cleaned. But still, these other small channels that lead there are not so well protected. So you'll see here again the sacks contain waste that are gathered, and then eventually carried in the late hours of the day and dumped somewhere, that somewhere normally ends up to be into Lake Victoria. So thank you for watching. In my next video I'll take you through the water sourcing in this environment. Where do people get there? Because most of these people cannot actually even afford to pay for tapped water, so they opt for free water. And how do they get this free water? Is what I'm taking you through in my next video. Thank you for watching and for continuously supporting my channel. In case you have not yet subscribed, I call upon you to subscribe, because I'm going to give you real life experiences from Uganda in all my subsequent videos. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.